Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Good morning, sir. You may be seated.
Good morning.
All right, sir, would you tell us your name, please?
Vaughn Daly.
Would you please spell your first and last name for our court reporter?
Vaughan. Last name Daley.
Thank you. You may inquire, counsel.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Daly, in what city do you currently live?
Orlando, Florida.
How long have you lived in Orlando?
I want to say it's 3 years.
I want to draw your attention to June 4th, 2015. Where were you working on that day?
Venue 578.
How long had you worked at Venue 578 on June 4th, 2015?
I want to say it'd probably be about a year.
What was your job title?
Just security.
Can you tell us a little bit about what your duties are as a security guard for Venue 578?
Yeah, my duties there are generally at the front door, checking IDs, helping set up before shows, and taking stuff down, tearing down stuff at the end of the night.
Were you working on June 4th, 2015?
Yes, ma'am.
As a security officer?
Yes, ma'am.
Security guard?
Security guard.
Where were you stationed on that night?
I was at the front door.
You had our permission to publish dates, Chair? Mr. Daly, if you can just turn around and take a look at this photo. Can you see the door that you were working on June 4th, 2015 in this photo?
Yes.
Where is it located?
I'll describe it a lot.
There's a pointer there on the desk in front of you.
Nice. Thank you. This is the main entrance here, where I'd be stationed. Also, this door over here is the other door, front door. So I'd be stationed here.
And that street that we see, do you know what road that is?
That is Orange Avenue.
Do you remember what time you had to be in on June 4th?
I believe it was our early show that evening. I would say 6 o'clock.
Were you out the door from the time you arrived?
For the time I arrive, like I said, my duties are setting up. So when I come in, I'm around the club. I'm doing whatever needs to be done to set up. But once the doors are rolling, I'm stationed at the front door where I pointed out.
Do you know whether there were any Orlando police officers working off duty on that night?
Yes, there were.
Do you know how many?
I know of one for certain.
Which one is that?
Officer Cruz.
And can you describe Officer Cruz? Is he white, black, Hispanic?
Hispanic.
Had you worked with Officer Cruz before?
Yes, I have.
Do you know his first name?
No, I don't know his first name.
Are you friends?
No, I wouldn't say we're friends.
Is it fair to say you only know each other from work?
Yeah, that's fair.
So you know that Officer Cruz was working. Where was Officer Cruz in relation to where you were that night?
Yeah. As I was saying, I was stationed here. The off-duty officers are usually park their vehicle right here, typically right in front of our front door.
At some point later in the night, did you have the occasion to notice a white female and a black male leave the club who later became known to you as Joanna Espejo and Noel Carter?
Yes, I did.
Did you actually see them leave the club?
Yes.
Were they walking together?
Well, I saw them enter the club together, and then there was a certain point in the evening where I saw her leave, but not with the gentleman that she had entered with initially.
Okay, let's back up.
Okay.
So I asked if you saw them leave the club, and from my understanding, was that the first time you saw them?
But the first time I saw them leave?
That night. Let me ask a better question.
Okay.
What was the first time you saw the white female and the black male who later became known to you as Joanna Espejo and Noel Carter?
I saw them when they came into the club together.
Were they with anyone else at that point?
I don't believe so, no. There's just two of them.
What was the next time you saw the white female?
I don't know how much further into the night it was, but essentially at some point I saw her leave with somebody else.
Not the same black male you saw her exit the club with later.
No.
Can you describe what this male looked like? Was he white, black, or Hispanic?
He was black, but if I recall correctly, he was a little bit smaller in stature than the gentleman that she had initially entered the club with.
Did you see where they went when they left?
Yes.
Where did they go?
They went across the street, across Orange. Exactly across there is an ATM, a SunTrust ATM, and the vehicle was parked in front of that ATM, and they were in the vehicle there.
Mr. Bailey, can you see the ATM in this photo?
Yes.
Can you point it with the pointer?
Here's the ATM, and I believe the vehicle was parked in one of these parking spots here.
At some point, did you see that white female again?
Yes.
And when was that?
Again, I don't know exact time, but I saw her enter the club, and then later I saw her leave the club again.
Were you still working the door that you showed us earlier this whole time?
That's correct.
When you saw her leave the club, was she with anyone else?
The last I saw her leave the club, she was leaving by herself, and then the gentleman who had accompanied her into the club initially was following behind her.
How do you know he was following behind her?
Well, she was ahead of him, and she was walking. If you can go back to the yeah, if you put the image up where I showed you where I was posted, I'll be able to better illustrate for you. She was walking this direction.
And where was the black male?
He was trailing behind. I can't give you the exact proximity, how the distance behind her, but
Did you notice anything about her demeanor at that point?
yeah, she was a little bit of tears, sad.
Did you see where they went?
From here, I saw
I'm
them.
going to show you another photo of the couple.
Sure, that will help.
Does this photo show where they went?
Yes.
Can you point it out with the laser pointer?
So this is the corner of Orange and Concord where the club is, and then they cross the street over here in front of the trophy shop.
Was there music playing in the club?
Yes, we had music playing in the club.
Was it loud?
Yes.
Did you continue to watch them as they walked in that direction?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't watching them, but I was doing my duties, and I looked back over, and I saw them a bit of a verbal altercation.
How did you know it was an altercation?
Just by body language. When you're doing security, you develop an eye just to kind of watch people's body language to try and get ahead of things and stuff like that. So I could tell they're in a bit of an altercation, verbal initially.
Have you seen people argue before?
Yes, I've seen people argue before.
Were they still in front of that trophy shop that you just pointed out?
Yes.
Could you hear anything that they were saying?
No.
At any point, did you see the black male put his hands on the female?
Yes, I did.
What did you observe when you saw that?
It happened quick. As I had said, I had noticed them in that verbal altercation for a little bit, and then kind of came to head and quickly reached around the shoulders, and she tried to get out of the grip. It happened quick.
Were you still sitting at the door at this point?
Yes, ma'am.
And after you saw the defendant or the black male grab onto the female's shoulders, what did you do?
That's what alerted me to just knock on Officer Cruz's window, who was parked directly in front of the club, as I had illustrated earlier.
Why did you think you needed to knock on Officer Cruz's window?
To be honest, you see people arguing in verbal altercations, and then sometimes if you feel it goes to the next level or someone looks uncomfortable, I just felt at that time, hey, maybe I should just alert the officer just to go make sure everything was okay, sort of thing.
Did Officer Cruz roll his window down?
He did. Just rolled the window down a crack. I just kind of pointed and said, hey, you might want to take a look into that. Pointed across the street.
What did Officer Cruz do?
He exited his vehicle and made his way towards the area where they were across the street.
Did you see any other interaction between Officer Cruz and that black male and the white female that night?
No.
Later on in that same night, you wrote a statement, correct?
I did.
Did an Orlando police officer ask you to write that statement?
Yes.
Do you remember how long that statement was?
A couple lines.
And do you recall whether you wrote in your statement anything about seeing the black male touch the female?
Yeah, I don't believe I put in the statement that the black male touched the female. I just quickly wrote that I saw them in an altercation across the street.
Do you also remember speaking with an agent on June 13th, 2015, who came to your place of work, venue 578, and also asked you about this incident?
Yeah, I remember.
And do you recall whether you told him whether you saw the black male put his hands on the female?
Again, I believe I just told the officer that I saw them in an altercation.
Is there any reason why you didn't tell him that you saw the defendant put his hands on the female?
Not particularly. I just, I just said I saw them in an altercation. At that point in time, I didn't really think that, to go into the details of what I had saw. And to be honest, I wasn't really clear at that time when they had asked me, So I just told them that I saw an altercation.
Do you remember how long that interview was?
A couple minutes. I was with the gentleman, and I believe there was a lady as well. We're there for a few minutes.
Just a few minutes?
I believe so, yeah. Maybe 5.
It wasn't
5
like an
minutes.
hour long?
No, it wasn't an hour long. It was, they had a line of questions prepared for me, and we got through them in a matter of maybe 5 minutes or so.
Now, Mr. Daly, since this incident on June 4th, 2015, Has anyone from any police agency come to you and threatened you to change your statement?
No, ma'am.
Has anyone told you that you needed to say something different than what you saw?
No.
Has anyone from my office told you or threatened you that you need to change your statement?
No, ma'am.
Has anyone told you that you need to say that the defendant touched the female?
No, ma'am.
Are you being truthful here today when you say that you saw the defendant put his hands on the female's
I'm being
shoulders?
truthful. I'm being truthful, yes.
One moment to confer. Nothing further.
Any questions from the defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed, Mr. Long.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Daly, you understand that when, in this case, when you fill out statements or you give statements under oath, that we have to rely on what you tell us as being the truth, correct?
I understand, yes.
Okay. And you would agree on the night of this incident, you were asked by the Orlando Police Department to give a statement where you signed off that you swore and subscribed that it was the truth, correct and true. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
And in that statement, you did not say anything about any physical contact whatsoever between Mr. Carter and Mrs. Feo.
I didn't know.
Okay. All you said is there was an argument and there was an altercation.
That's correct.
Okay. So when we got this statement and we looked at it, we would assume that you're describing...
Objection, Your Honor. Argumentative.
Overruled.
That we would assume, looking at this, that there was just an argument between the two of them. Anybody looking at this, because you didn't put anything in there about any physical contact, correct?
It's fair to say.
Okay. And then about 9 days later, you agents came to your work, Club Venue 578, sat you down, as well as a bunch of other employees, and took a statement. And before that statement started, they had you raise your hand to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, correct?
That's correct.
And would you agree during that statement, you were specifically asked by this agent, when you saw them up at the corner, did you see anything physical? And your answer was no.
Objection, Your Honor. May we approach?
Yes.
Please, Court.
Yes.
Mr. Daly, just going back to your statement on June 13th, would you agree when you answered the question that was asked about whether there's a physical or verbal altercation, your answer was that it was a verbal altercation for sure, and they were really engaged verbally. Is that correct?
Yeah, they were, for quite some time, they were engaged in verbal altercation, yes.
But you didn't say anything to this agent about any physical contact, and he actually asked you, was there anything physical? Is that correct?
He did ask me that.
And you didn't say anything about any physical?
No, I didn't. It wasn't until after that, in between them asking me that question and the deposition that we had, that I did remember that I saw that, because I asked myself, what was it that brought me to knocking on Officer Cruz's window? I played it through, and I remembered.
So are you telling this jury that your memory was better? Because our deposition was taken in February of 2016, which is 8 months after the fact.
That's correct.
So you're telling this jury that your memory is better 8 months after versus 9 days after this happened?
Hey, I'll be honest. I'm not perfect. That's how it happened. I'm just telling you the truth.
You understand that this gentleman here is facing criminal charges in this case?
Objection, Your Honor.
Basis.
Improper argument.
Sustained.
Your Honor, I'd like to play the video, if I could, from the front line.
Maybe a coach hat?
Is that video that's in evidence?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, you may approach.
Mr. Daly, while we're setting this up, probably the best thing going to have is you bring the pointer with you, and I have a pointer also. We're going to look at the video and just explain to the jury where you were.
Sure.
Okay, so once we set it up, should the court have to step down?
That's fine.
Of course.
May I rearrange so that I can see the TV as well, Your Honor?
Yes, that's fine.
Of course.
Is the one that works for you? May the witness step down now?
Yes.
I think if I could turn on the cell phone. We'll come back. Thanks. We have a video here which has already been submitted to evidence. It is states Exhibit 6. So what I want to do is just have you talk to the jury about this. We're looking right now to stop at the exiting door of the club. Is that correct?
Yes.
What door is that?
That is let me cut the one image up where I was using the pointer and I issued our station. There's a door, it's a metal pin, a metal gate. To the left there, you saw another door that has a print press of the logo on it. Which generally means it's our bottle service door as well. They're both on orange hat. That's the door that's locked.
That's not really a door where the patrons come in. That's kind of the exit. That's
They can. That door, depends on what's happening that night, depends on the show. And they,
if I can stop you, this is, just, you take a look around. That's the door we're
yes,
in right now.
that's the door we can't let.
Okay, this is the area where you were working.
So if I can explain.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this door here is used as a bottle service door, okay?
You might want to back up the jury again, let's see.
Why don't we have the witness stand over here?
Okay. So this door here is the bottle service door that you just asked about. So okay. This door here is the main entrance, all right? Both on Orange Avenue, across the street would be where I said the altercation was in front of Joey Shop. This door here is sometimes used as, like I I said, a lot of circumstances where lines will be set up. Sometimes, if they think that it's going to be busy enough to set this door up, they'll set this up, and if it's not busy, then they'll tear down our ropes that we use for a line, and we'll close that door. Okay? So I could start off the night there, and if it's not busy, then we'll close this down, and then they'll shift it.
We can come back to the video. Play it. Okay.
You can move around so you can see it.
Video showing Mrs. Bayo just went through it. This Mr. Carter, you recognize him coming out that door? Right there. Do you recognize him? Yes, yes. Have you seen this video before today?
Yeah, so.
Okay. Since the deposition, did you meet with the state and see any video?
No.
Okay. The gentleman, who is this person? Right there on the, right there. Who's that? You know who that is?
Right.
Okay, sure. Who that is? That's you. So you were actually the person who opened the door for them to leave.
I can't say that for certain. I can't say that for certain.
Well, the video just showed them leaving, and you just opened it. You don't know if you opened it, you're coming out right now.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I could have been in foyer. Sometimes people will go through the door when it's closed. I can, hey, go through the door, and they go through the door, and I open it up. Sort of thing.
Okay. But this is you right here.
That is me. Whether I open the door for the gentleman or not, I can't say that for certain.
When she was leaving, did she ever come up to you and say she was concerned about Noel?
Who is she?
Mrs. Bayo, the white female.
No, she.
At any time while she was in the club, did she ever come up to you or to your knowledge about to any security officer saying she was concerned with the way Noel was acting?
I can't say whether or not she spoke to any other security officer in the club. So I don't know if she spoke to anybody else.
Okay, but for you, she never came up and spoke.
Not that I know.
You were at the door just as they exited. Is that accurate?
I was at the door. I see was exiting.
Yes.
I mean, that's how here's the video. I don't remember exactly what had happened as to why I was there. There's several scenarios that happened. A lot of people in the club.
So all I'm asking you is, that you there and that's
Now you're asking me if that's me. Yes, that is me.
Yeah.
But did I fall him off the door? I don't know what happened, but yes, that's me right there.
Who's the gentleman you're speaking to, you know?
And I'm not a sense. Okay.
That's you going back into the club, isn't it?
Yes.
So, right after they left, you went back inside the club. I'm asking, is that you going back inside the club?
That's me holding the door, yes.
You go back inside the club.
And I'm entering the club that where I was there, yes.
Let's go back to the beginning. Is that Mrs. Bayo leaving? You said you remember, is that her?
It's my shoes, I think, so yeah.
That's Mr. Carter. Correct.
That's correct.
That's you.
That's someone else.
Wow. Why does it go out right here? Right. Well, I think that's the extent of the video. Sir, I believe you just told us in the statement that you saw them walking up to the corner. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
You know, where are you anywhere out there looking right now?
No, but one picture on the screen.
Let's just show it in front of the jury.
Yes.
Come over here.
This is the picture. You're trying to be somewhere else when you're walking up.
I am inside this area here. This lot is over here. And also right here. That is facing this way. So if I close the door, I could have seen that.
Was your testimony that you were inside and for some reason you were following those two people walking up the street?
That's not my testimony.
Okay, well, you said that you saw them walking up the street. Where were you when you saw them walking up the street?
So when I'm in this
My
area,
question is, where were you when you saw him walking up the street?
I'm in the vicinity of the front door area. So that being said, there's lots of things going on. There's the two doors, the main door, there's the bottle service door, there's the foyer. So I'm going back and forth and things, watching everything that's going on.
My question is, where were you when you saw them walking up the street? You remember, as you said.
That's one video.
That's you now.
Correct. Yeah.
That's you going back in the club, correct?
That's the walking towards the front foyer area. I might not have any inside. Else that'll work.
This car here, that's the car that Officer Cruz is in, correct?
That's what
So while you're off the screen here, are you actually looking up the street, seeing them having their argument?
yeah, I watch everything down there. This fence line here. Fence line is it's bottom is metal, it's solid. But on the top portion, it's a gap and it just has like a wire, so it's open. And trains get to watch the sight line along the fence. Sometimes at night you try to pass them the fence, etc. So I like to watch the fence line here and along the other side to see if anyone's trying to pass it through and watch on the fence. So I'm there, I'm working, doing other things, but I'm always checking the fence, checking the front door, etc. My eyes are always on.
Well, this is up here, that's where their car was, correct? From the ATM.
I don't know whose car that was. I didn't say that that was their car. I said that she was in a car. I don't know. It was her car. It was Noel Carter's car. It was the gentleman who she left with when I told her earlier that she left something else. I don't know whose car that was.
But this is the car that she went to.
Up here from the ATM. It was a car, one of the cars that passed that she was with.
She went up there at some point with the other gentleman.
Yeah.
Now, we don't see on this video, this entire time that you're not on video, were you actually watching them up at the corner, having a discussion?
I'm watching a lot of things. I'm monitoring a lot of different situations.
My question is, while you were off the screen here, were you constantly watching them up at the corner?
Objection, asked and answered. Overruled.
You can answer.
I'm watching everything. That's maybe one thing that I'm watching, and yes.
My question is, while you were there, were you constantly, I mean, all time, watching them up on the corner? It's a very simple question, yes or no?
Well, I answered your question, but if you're answering if you're asked by constantly, I can't tell you that I was constantly watching the entire time.
If here it is, you. I'm sorry, I have this is you coming out, you're speaking with.
That's the gentleman that I told you, he was at the door, he no longer works there, he was at the door. And that's my back to Oxford's car. We're both kind of watching down the street.
You see a police car show up, do you meet the police car that So if Mr. Thomas came in here on the stand and said they were having an argument.
Objection. May we approach?
Yes. Yes, go ahead.
I think, if I show you this, then it's two. This is the picture you were just shown, which shows the trophy shop, correct? And according to your testimony, that's where Mrs. Faye and Mr. Carter were having an argument. Yes. Sure. So if we could, just do kind of extension here. Yes. This. So you were here, and they were having the argument over there. It was a good distance away, at least like 50 to 75 feet. Right. It's across the street. Okay. At this point, you knock on the window, and that's when you tell Officer Cruz, hey, you might want to go check that out. This is Officer Cruz getting out. You don't seem too concerned at this point. You just hear them arguing, it's kind of loud, and they say, you need to go check that out. Is that pretty much it? Officer Cruz grabs his water, takes a little sip, and starts walking down. They're not in a hurried manner or anything like that. You're following him as he goes down there? See you following him? Oh. You're kind of looking that way. Oh, you mean I'm watching? Yeah. And other than seeing that going down there, you didn't have any other involvement with what happened with Mrs. Faye, Mr. Carter, or Officer Cruz? I think that's all the questions we have. You go back one? Yeah. One moment, I'll just go through my notes here. As this case progressed on February 2nd, 2016, about 8 months later, we took your deposition.
That's correct.
Okay. And at that time is the first time that you told us that there was some type of physical contact between Mr. Carter and Mrs. Faye up in the corner, up at that area, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And you described it earlier today from what you told us in deposition that it was quick, from what you're saying did happen.
Yeah, they're arguing for a while, but then the escalation happened quick. Boom, it was quick.
It was your decision to knock on the window of Officer Cruz, correct?
Yes, it was my decision.
It was your decision based on what you were seeing down the road, correct?
That's correct, yes.
You never got a radio transmission from Paul Thomas to get a hold of Officer Cruz, did you?
No, I did not.
Do you wear earpiece?
Yes, we do.
Okay. But nobody else came up to you and said, Mr. Thomas said, you better get the police over here, something's going on? Nothing like that happened that night?
No.
Okay. One second, please. One moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Last question, Mr. Daly.
Certainly.
What you saw in the argument, that was the only argument you saw between Mr. Carter and Mrs. Spaya was the argument that was going on the corner in front of the trophy shop.
That's correct, yes.
So you didn't see any other arguments inside the club?
No, I didn't see them arguing inside the club. Whatever happened inside the club, I am oblivious to. I wasn't inside the dance floor portion part of the club. So if anything happened in there, I don't know anything about it.
Sir, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Members of the jury, do you have any questions of the witness? If so, please raise your hand. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
State, you may call your next witness.
State Health Officer David Cruz.
Your Honor,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
break.
Sure, that's fine. We'll take a break at this time. Members of the jury, if you'd leave your notepads on the chair as you exit, please also remember not to discuss the case amongst yourselves or conduct any research of your own. You're excused to the jury room.
Jury, sorry.